whole way. And such a love affair with this city and its people and its fans. It's one of the great basketball towns in the country, it really is. And to be here and to be able to come back now as a coach.
The world of women's basketball just hit a breaking point that no one saw coming. And the fallout is currently sending shockwaves through the entire sports industry, because what started as a simple competition for a roster spot has turned into a full-blown civil war that could change the future of the 1BA forever. For years, Team USA has been the gold standard of dominance, a nearly untouchable force that relied on chemistry, veteran leadership, and an unspoken code of conduct. But that code was just shattered in the most public way possible, in a move that has left fans and analysts absolutely speechless. Because reports are surfacing that coach Cheryl Reeve and the Team USA hierarchy have officially made the decision to remove A'ja Wilson from the roster, following an unprecedented and heated clash with the league's most polarizing figure, Caitlin Clark. This isn't just a roster change, it's a total collapse of the establishment, and the tension started long before the cameras were rolling. Rooted in a season where the spotlight shifted so fast, it left the league's most decorated veterans feeling like afterthoughts in their own house. A'ja Wilson has been the undisputed queen of the court, a back-to-back MVP who earned every bit of her legendary status. But the arrival of the Iowa sensation changed the math in a way the veterans weren't prepared for, because every stadium Clark walked into was sold out. Every jersey she wore became a collector's item, and the media circus followed her every move, often ignoring the championship pedigree of players like Wilson. Insiders claim that this imbalance of attention created a toxic environment behind the scenes, where the respect for the game's history was being eclipsed by the Caitlin Clark effect. And it wasn't just about the points or the wins anymore, it was about who owned the narrative. And for the first time in her career, A'ja Wilson allegedly felt like she was being pushed into the shadows. The boiling point finally overflowed during what was supposed to be a standard high-intensity practice session behind closed doors, where sources close to the team describe a scene that felt more like a battlefield than a basketball court, because it started with physical play, the kind of welcome to the big league's physicality that rookies usually endure, but it quickly spiraled into something much darker. Words were exchanged that went far beyond competitive trash talk, targeting the very legitimacy of Clark's place on the team. And the clash wasn't just a disagreement over a play, it was a fundamental collision of two different eras, with Wilson representing the grit and the grind of the foundations, and Clark representing the new age explosion of commercial stardom. Witnesses say the intensity reached a level that the coaching staff could no longer ignore, leading to a confrontation that would change the trajectory of the Olympic squad forever. Because following the incident, the atmosphere in the locker room turned ice cold. The veteran core, led by legends who have spent decades building the program, reportedly stood by Wilson, creating a massive divide that threatened to derail the entire Olympic mission. But the coaching staff was in a corner, staring down a PR nightmare and a team that was no longer functioning as a unit. Rumors began to circulate that an ultimatum was delivered: either the environment changed immediately, or drastic measures would be taken to protect the integrity of the team's pursuit of gold. And many thought the drastic measures would involve benching the rookie or issuing a private reprimand. But the decision that came down was far more severe. The official word leaked through inner circles that A'ja Wilson was being moved off the active roster, a move so bold it's being called the biggest ego check in the history of the sport. And the removal wasn't just about the clash. It was about sending a message that no player, regardless of their MVP trophies, is bigger than the program. However, the optics of removing the best player in the world to accommodate a rookie have caused an absolute firestorm, with critics calling it a corporate takeover of the game, suggesting that the powers that be are prioritizing jersey sales and TV ratings over winning and veteran respect. On the other side, some argue that this was a necessary cleansing of a locker room that had become too gate-kept and hostile toward new talent, But the silence from the official Team USA social media accounts has been deafening, only fueling the speculation that they are currently scrambling to find a way to frame this to the public without losing their entire fan base. Behind the scenes, the rest of the roster is reportedly in a state of shock and division, with some players terrified to speak out, fearing they could be next on the chopping block if they show too much loyalty to the ousted MVP, while others are reportedly considering a silent protest, questioning if they even want to step on the court, if the team's anchor is being sacrificed. The legal teams and agents are now working overtime to navigate the conduct clauses in these high-profile contracts, trying to find a way to settle the dispute without it ending up in a courtroom. And as the news continues to leak, the question on everyone's mind is whether Team USA can even compete for a gold medal without Wilson's dominance in the paint. She wasn't just a scorer, she was the emotional and defensive heartbeat of the squad. And removing her is like removing the engine from a Ferrari and expecting it to still win the race. But the clash with Clark has proven that talent isn't enough when the chemistry is burned to the ground. This move marks the end of an era and the beginning of a very uncertain future, where the lines between sportsmanship and stardom are blurred more than ever before, because this situation is still developing by the minute. And as more off-the-record accounts surface, the true nature of what happened in that locker room is becoming clearer and more disturbing. We are witnessing a power struggle that goes beyond basketball. It's a fight for the soul of the game. And if the most dominant force in the NBA can be removed from the national team over a clash with a rookie, it changes the rules for everyone. The fallout from this decision will likely be felt for years, and the upcoming international games will be the ultimate test of whether this was a brilliant move to save the team's culture or a catastrophic mistake that will cost them the gold. Every move from here on out will be scrutinized under a microscope, as the world waits to see if Aja Wilson will tell her side of the story, or if the official version will be the only one that stands. One thing is for certain: the locker room will never be the same, and the rivalry between the old guard and the new generation has officially turned into a war. As we wait for the formal press conference that everyone knows is coming, the tension is at an all-time high, and we have to wonder if the fans will stay loyal to the stars they've watched for a decade, or if they will embrace this new Clark-centered reality. The game is changing, and the price of that change might be higher than anyone ever imagined, because this isn't just about a roster spot anymore. It's about the legacy of American basketball and whether it can survive the weight of its own fame. What happens next could either solidify a new dynasty or be the beginning of the end for the most dominant team in history. And the stakes have never been higher, as the world watches to see who will be left standing when the dust finally settles on this unprecedented scandal. Just when you think the drama has peaked, new whispers suggest that Wilson isn't going down without a fight, and the legal maneuvers being discussed behind the scenes could potentially block the team from moving forward entirely. This is a game of high-stakes poker, where no one is willing to fold, and the fallout is real, the damage is done, and the shocking removal of Aja Wilson is only the first chapter in a story that will redefine the sport forever. Keep your eyes on the headlines, because this is far from over, and the next reveal might be even more explosive than the last. In the end, we have to ask ourselves if the price of progress is worth the destruction of a legend's career, because that's the question haunting every fan right now. The ripple effect of this decision is already touching every corner of the basketball world, with former players and coaches taking to social media to express their disbelief, and the narrative is shifting from a sports story to a cultural phenomenon. Many are pointing to the intense pressure that the Olympic Committee feels to capitalize on the massive ratings that Caitlin Clark brings. But others are worried that this sets a dangerous precedent where popularity outweighs performance. Aja Wilson has been a model of consistency and excellence for years, and her absence creates a vacuum that no one else can truly fill. The defense will suffer, the leadership will be fragmented, and the intimidation factor that Team USA usually carries will be significantly diminished. Meanwhile, the pressure on Clark has intensified to a level that is almost unsustainable, because she now carries the weight of a legend's departure on her shoulders. If the team fails to bring home the gold, the blame will fall squarely on her and the coaching staff's decision to prioritize her presence over Wilson's experience. This is the kind of drama that you usually only see in movies, but it's playing out in real time, and the consequences are as real as it gets. The sponsorship deals and the brand partnerships are also in a state of flux, as companies try to figure out which side of the fence they should stand on. A'ja Wilson is a massive brand in her own right, and her fans are incredibly vocal and loyal, which means that the backlash against Team USA could hit them where it hurts most, in their wallets. As the days go by, more details are expected to emerge about the specific words that were said during that fateful practice session, and those words could be the final nail in the coffin for some of the relationships involved. There is no going back from this, and the path forward is paved with uncertainty and intense scrutiny. Whether this leads to a new era of prosperity or a total collapse of the Team USA dynasty remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the game will never be the same after this. Every fan, every player, and every executive is currently holding their breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop. And when it does, it's going to be a story that we talk about for decades. The clash between Wilson and Clark was the spark, but the explosion has only just begun, and the fire is spreading faster than anyone can contain. This is the new reality of professional sports, where every interaction is a headline, and every decision is a gamble of epic proportions. As we look toward the future, the only thing we can be sure of is that the drama is just getting started, and the true cost of this conflict has yet to be fully realized. The sports world is divided, and the debate is raging in every barber shop, every sports bar, and every corner of the internet. Is it right to move on from a legend to make room for a star? Or is the legacy of the game worth more than any one player's popularity? These are the questions that will define this era of basketball, and the answers won't be easy to find. But as the clock ticks down to the next big game, all eyes will be on the court to see if the team can find a way to win, in spite of the chaos, or if the removal of A'ja Wilson will be remembered as the biggest mistake in the history of the sport. The intensity is building, the stakes are rising, and the world is ready for the next chapter in this incredible saga. We are witnessing history in the making, even if it's not the kind of history anyone expected to see. The power of the individual versus the power of the collective is being tested on the biggest stage in the world, and the outcome will resonate for a long time to come. Stay tuned, because the story is still being written, and every second brings a new twist that no one saw coming. The drama, the tension, and the pure raw emotion of this situation are what makes sports so captivating, even when it's painful to watch the legends we admire get caught in the crossfire of change. This is the reality of the game today, and we are all just along for the ride as the world of basketball continues to evolve in ways we never thought possible. From the locker room to the boardroom, the effects of the Wilson-Clark clash are being felt everywhere, and there is no telling where it will end. The only certainty is that this is a moment that will be studied and discussed for years as a turning point in the history of women's sports, and the narrative is only going to get more complex from here. Every interview, every tweet, and every look on the court will be analyzed for deeper meaning, as the players and coaches try to navigate this minefield of media attention and internal strife. It's a test of character, a test of talent, and a test of the very foundations that Team USA was built on. And we are all waiting to see if they can pass that test, or if they will crumble under the weight of their own success and the pressure of a new era. The story of A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark is far from over, and the next chapter promises to be even more dramatic than the last. So keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, because the world of basketball is about to get even more intense, and the fallout will be legendary. No matter what side you're on, the impact of this move is undeniable, and it marks a shift in the landscape that will be felt by everyone who loves the game. The time for talk is almost over, and the time for action is coming. And when it does, the whole world will be watching to see how this incredible story concludes. The removal of a star like A'ja Wilson is a statement that cannot be ignored, and it signals a new direction for the team that could either lead them to glory or to a crushing defeat. The mystery surrounding the decision only adds to the intrigue, and the rumors will continue to swirl until the full truth is finally revealed. But until then, we are left to wonder what really happened and what it means for the future of the sport we love. The clash was the beginning, the removal was the shock, and the aftermath will be the legacy that defines this generation of athletes. Every fan has an opinion, and every expert has a theory, but the only ones who truly know what happened are the ones who were in the room when the decision was made. And as they prepare to take the stage on the world's biggest platform, the pressure is on to prove that they made the right choice, or face the consequences of a decision that has already changed everything. This is the drama of high-stakes sports at its finest, and we are all witnesses to a moment that will live on in the record books forever, whether for better or for worse. The tension is palpable, the excitement is real, and the future of Team USA is hanging in the balance, as the world waits for the first whistle to blow and the game to finally begin. The world of women's basketball just hit a breaking point that no one saw coming, and the fallout is currently sending shockwaves through the entire sports industry, because what started as a simple competition for a roster spot has turned into a full-blown civil war that could change the future of the WNBA forever. For years, Team USA has been the gold standard of dominance, a nearly untouchable force that relied on chemistry, veteran leadership, and an unspoken code of conduct. But that code was just shattered in the most public way possible, in a move that has left fans and analysts absolutely speechless. Because reports are surfacing that coach Cheryl Reeve and the Team USA hierarchy have officially made the decision to remove A'ja Wilson from the roster, following an unprecedented and heated clash with the league's most polarizing figure, Caitlin Clark. This isn't just a roster change, it's a total collapse of the establishment, and the tension started long before the cameras were rolling. Rooted in a season where the spotlight shifted so fast, it left the league's most decorated veterans feeling like afterthoughts in their own house. A'ja Wilson has been the undisputed queen of the court, a back-to-back MVP who earned every bit of her legendary status. But the arrival of the Iowa sensation changed the math in a way the veterans weren't prepared for, because every stadium Clark walked into was sold out. Every jersey she wore became a collector's item, and the media circus followed her every move, often ignoring the championship pedigree of players like Wilson. Insiders claim that this imbalance of attention created a toxic environment behind the scenes, where the respect for the game's history was being eclipsed by the Caitlin Clark effect. And it wasn't just about the points or the wins anymore, it was about who owned the narrative. And for the first time in her career, A'ja Wilson allegedly felt like she was being pushed into the shadows. The boiling point finally overflowed during what was supposed to be a standard high-intensity practice session behind closed doors, where sources close to the team describe a scene that felt more like a battlefield than a basketball court, because it started with physical play, the kind of welcome to the big league's physicality that rookies usually endure, but it quickly spiraled into something much darker. Words were exchanged that went far beyond competitive trash talk, targeting the very legitimacy of Clark's place on the team. And the clash wasn't just a disagreement over a play, it was a fundamental collision of two different